Here at West Fargo Public Schools, we pride ourselves on educating all learners for tomorrow's world. In order to best support this important work, we have implemented CHAMPS behavioral expectations throughout the district. In this short module, we will dig a little bit deeper into CHAMPS to get you started. CHAMPS is a vital part of West Fargo Public Schools. We know that effective teachers spend more time promoting responsible behavior than responding to irresponsible behavior. CHAMPS can help with this because we also know you get the behavior you pay the most attention to. During this module, we will work on the following objectives and outcomes. We will work to build your knowledge base of teachers to manage student behavior and increase student motivation so teachers can focus their time and energy on instruction in the classroom and overall student success. We will look at specific techniques for creating classroom climates where all students are engaged and motivated. And we will end by reflecting on our current practice and create a plan to implement CHAMPS strategies within the daily classroom. Each educator in West Fargo Public Schools is supplied with the CHAMPS Proactive and Positive Approach to Classroom Management text. This will be an important tool as you start doing this work. Let's dive in and find out more about CHAMPS overall. Most importantly, CHAMPS is an approach, not a program. It can fit in well with what you're already seeing within your building. CHAMPS enables teachers to establish clear expectations with logical and fair responses to misbehavior. It also allows teachers to optimize their instruction time. It provides a framework to motivate students to do their best. And through using CHAMPS, students are taught how to behave responsibly, with clear and common expectations.
Because each teacher has the right and the obligation to set up their classroom in a way that fits their style, the needs of the students, and the needs of the subject matter, we have to get teachers to recognize you have to teach kids how to function here in this unique Room 19.
Yes.
Because no matter how much we do with school-wide stuff, Room 19 is going to be unique. And so the acronym CHAMPS is for every activity: cooperative groups, lab activities, teacher-directed instruction, tests, independent seat work.
No matter what you're doing.
No matter what you're doing, you need to know conversation. Can I talk to other kids, and if so, about what, how loud, to whom, how many of us can be involved, and how long can we talk? Because your room will be different from my room, which will be different than Mrs. Thompson's room across the hall. The CHAMPS acronym, the H is help. How do I get help? How do I get questions answered? And how do I get the teacher's attention? Because we need to recognize teachers are spread between 15 to 20 to 30 to maybe even 40 kids, or for some specials in high school, 60 kids. Kids need to know, how can I have access to you in ways that will not be intrusive of your job or interfere with your effectiveness, but still, I need access to you. The A is what is the activity itself. The M is movement. Can I get out of my seat? Can I get a drink of water? Can I sharpen my pencil? Can I hand something in? Can I get those materials? And do I need your permission to do so or not? And the P is the most important part of the acronym. It's participation. What should active participation here in Room 19 look like? What should it sound like? And the thing that we want to get teachers utilizing that acronym for is we want them realizing you want a different set of behaviors from kids when you're presenting a lesson than when they're working on an independent seat work activity, than when they're at lab stations, or when they're working in groups. And people kept asking, what's the S? And then I started visiting schools, and a lot of schools had said, well, it's success. If you do conversation, help, activity, movement, and participation the right way, then you'll be successful.
CHAMPS is an evidence-based approach to classroom and behavior management. The text was set out by Safe and Civil Schools. It has examples of district-based students where CHAMPS has been implemented with remarkable results. Overall, it has shown a reduction in classroom disruptions, office referrals, and in and out of school suspensions. Through using CHAMPS, there's an increase in teachers' perceptions of efficacy and student motivation and behavior. It provides a way of thinking about how to prevent misbehavior and encourage responsible behavior along the way. Two important acronyms as we dive into this important work will be CHAMPS and STOIC. As a system, we must have structures and routines in place to provide student safety, student academic and social achievement, and a positive climate. STOIC is a proactive and positive behavior support system that will help us do just that. When we build positive relationships with our students can trust us and follow the structure and routines we want them to learn. Now we'll take a look at what STOIC stands for and how it might look at your building. The S in STOIC is for structuring your classroom for success. T is for teach behavioral expectations to students. O is observe and supervise. I is interact positively with students. And the C in STOIC is correct fluently. The S in STOIC is for structure. Structure is having routines and systems in place for the whole program and for your individual groups to follow. This can be anything from your physical setting, schedule, routines, procedures, snack time, transitions, bathroom breaks. Structure is also being prepared with lesson plans, schedules, and daily materials. Teachers must also think through creating line orders and seating charts as needed. We want to ensure that transitions run smoothly and in a timely manner. We also want to ensure that our environment is conducive for each activity throughout the day. The T in CHAMPS stands for teaching behavioral expectations to students. We want to ensure that we teach students how to behave responsibly and respectfully in every classroom situation. Expectations could vary depending on the time or task. For instance, whole group expectations can look vastly different from small group or independent seat time work. You might want to create either grade level or whole group expectations and also establish how you are going to get student attention. We want to give students desired behaviors such as please sit down, or remember, we use walking feet. Having clear and concise expectations can help with student behavior overall. The O in STOIC is for observe and supervise. Observing student behavior in objective ways and using meaningful data to monitor trends across time can be beneficial to our learning environment. Staff should be consistently visually scanning their instructional space, moving around the learning area and observing what is going on at all times. It's also important to keep proximity to students to prevent misbehavior. The I in STOIC is interact positively with students. As the instructional leader, we want to focus more time, attention, and energy on acknowledging responsible behavior than we spend responding to misbehavior. We strive for a high ratio of positive to negative or corrective interactions, keeping a ratio of 3 to 1. Interacting positively with students can help in building positive relationships. We want to be using a positive tone of voice and have positive body language. Giving students positive reinforcement and specific praise as we move throughout our instructional day. The C in STOIC is for correct fluently. We want to respond in a brief, calm, and consistent manner, being clear and direct when correcting any misbehavior. This helps to ensure that the student learns and exhibits appropriate behavior. We want to reduce the amount of misbehavior, reuse strategies that work, and reteach behavioral expectations when needed. One helpful way to think about the acronyms provided are STOIC is mainly for the staff and self-reflection for overall expectations, whereas the CHAMPS acronym lays out clear and common expectations for the students in our learning zone. Let's do a quick review of the CHAMPS acronym. C is for conversation, H is for help, A is activity, M is for movement, P participation, and the S is Looking back on the STOIC acronym, we can see that CHAMPS is derived directly from the T in STOIC, teaching behavioral expectations to students. This is how we ensure students know the expectations to behave in a way that's responsible, respectful, and safe in our instructional space. Through implementing CHAMPS in our instructional space, we can provide guidelines for success to ensure that students are respectful, responsible, and safe in our instructional space. Setting clear and concise CHAMPS expectations gives us our guidelines for success of being respectful, responsible, and safe in our instructional spaces. The C in CHAMPS outlines the overall conversation expectations of CHAMPS. Here is an example of the voice level poster used at West Fargo Public Schools. Level 0 is no talking or voices off. Level 1 is a whisper voice. Level 2 is our quiet voice or partner talk. Level 3 is our presentation voice, and Level 4 is our outside voice. While there are several ways to display an appropriate conversation level within your instructional space, it is important to do so and keep it visual for students. The conversation level will vary throughout the day. Within your instructional space, you may have times where you're teaching a whole group lesson, a small group lesson, students are working with a partner, or independent practice. The conversation level may vary based on the activity. Much like our conversation level varies throughout our instructional day, so does the way in which students are expected to ask for help. During that instructional time, how should students get their questions answered? How are they to get your attention? Do they raise their hand for help? Do they ask 3 before me? Perhaps they hold up a sign or symbol. Getting help can vary based on our instructional time. Whole group may look very different than a small group setting. Communicating these expectations are vital to student success and the least amount of interruptions during your instruction. The A in CHAMP stands for activity. This is what you are doing at that time of your instructional day. What is the task or objectives you wish students to complete, or what is the end product? The M in CHAMPS stands for movement. Setting clear expectations for movement can ensure student success during a given activity. Movement expectations determine whether students can move about the instructional space or not. What might that look like? Should a student remain in their assigned area, stand quiet in line? And how should they go about moving around the space if it is allowed at that time? Using walking feet? Establishing clear expectations for movement can ensure students are not interrupted or disruptive during learning. The P in CHAMPS is for participation. Outlining expectations for participation addresses what the expected student behavior looks like and sounds like during a given activity. How do students show they are fully participating? The S in CHAMPS is always for success. If students follow the CHAMPS expectations, showing that they are respectful, responsible, and safe in the instructional space, they will have success. Research shows that if fewer than 80% of students in our instructional space are successful with following expectations, we should turn our focus to STOIC. In revisiting the STOIC acronym, we know that CHAMPS comes directly from teaching behavioral expectations to students. Now we'll shift our focus just a bit and focus on the interactions. Interacting positively with students can greatly affect the outcomes of our approach to classroom and behavior management. The way in which we interact with students throughout our instructional time can play a big part in the following of behavioral expectations. Shifting our focus to the ratio of interactions is an important part of this work. What does research tell us about the ratio of interactions? Interactions with students are considered positive or negative based on the behavior in which the student is engaged in at the time the attention is given. If you remember from the beginning of this module, the behavior you pay the most attention to is the behavior you will get more of in the future. Students learn the appropriate behavior in the same way a child who doesn't know how to read learns to read. Behavior is also taught through instruction, practice, feedback, and encouragement. This is where the ratio of interactions comes into play.
3-to-1 ratio is basically, am I paying more attention to positive behavior or am I paying more attention to negative behavior? The negatives are anytime I am having to pay attention to misbehavior that I consider to be negative misbehavior. I'm trying to use my interaction to shape you back to either following my rules or meeting my procedures or whatever they happen to be. So I want to make sure that I buttress against that possibility by you also saying, it is actually easier to get my attention and more satisfying and a better kind of attention to get attention from me when you're exhibiting pro-social behaviors. If I had to correct you right before you left my class today, but I see you later in the hall and you're not even coming to my class, but I say, Devin, very good to see you. Having a good afternoon? There I am at a 1-to-1 with that kid, where that kid has seen, okay, he did correct my behavior and he said I need to be doing X or Y, but also he doesn't seem to hold a grudge. Just his saying, hey, good afternoon, Devin, yeah, how you doing? Has communicated. We're, at the very least, we're back to even. The next day when you're walking into my class, I say, hey, Devin, good to see you today. How are you? That's 2, because it's 2 times that I've interacted with you when you were not engaged in misbehavior. Neither of them in this particular case involve praise, but they're 2 demonstrations that you don't need to screw up or annoy me to be noticed by me. And then if a little bit later in class I get the class engaged in an independent work period, and I just come over and I just look at the quality of your work, and I just say, hey, it looks like you're doing great. Please let me know if you have any questions. That just acknowledges that I noticed your on-task behavior, and that puts me at 3-to-1. But it's basically you want every kid to see, All of the adults in this school are much more interested in capitalizing on and solidifying strength than they are just trying to catch weakness. If I'm not careful, I can end up paying so much attention to misbehavior that my kids who are starved for attention find, if I do what this guy wants, he doesn't even notice I'm here. But if I annoy him, I can get his attention like that. I definitely want to avoid that.
Hey, Mr. Q. Did you see that? Why would somebody do that?
Please go into the classroom, no talking, quietly.
Hey, Miss Meredith, how you doing?
We need you inside.
How do you think that makes us feel? I forgot my number.
What's your name?
Jordan?
What's your last name?
Carter?
Go ahead.
School is hard enough.
Come on in, sit down quietly at your desks, and begin writing.
This kind of stuff just makes it harder.
I said quietly, please. Who's talking? Is it you, Sophie? Don't let it be you.
Don't believe me?
Sophie.
Please just watch.
I'm not up here for me, I'm up here for you. Pay attention. Okay? Now somebody answer me. Somebody needs to answer me really fast.
Every time we're ignored or yelled at or silenced, a teacher takes away what's possible.
No horseplay, no running, and especially no talking.
Moment by moment.
Mr. Garrity, your student's behavior yesterday in the lunchroom, it was terrible. Next time, silent lunch.
Did you hear that? Stay in line and catch a bubble. I'm not playing.
If this is education, we're in trouble. Bye, Miss McGarrity. Frederick Douglass said, once you learn to read, you'll be forever free. The way it is now, 2 of the 3 of us will never be able to really read. It doesn't have to be this way.
Hey Jordan, how you doing? Good.
Everyone we meet throughout our day can make a difference.
I've been waiting for you to arrive.
All the difference.
Good, how are you? Great. Hi, Jordan. Bye, Jason.
Good morning, Jordan.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. How are you?
Good.
Go ahead and put your number in.
Talk with us, not at us.
That's okay. I'll look it up for you. Go ahead, sweetheart.
Okay.
All right. Have a
Teach us what we need to know. That's how we get smarter.
Well, good morning, Sophie, Janicia, and Jordan.
And when you talk with us and teach us, give us bigger and bigger words.
Now what I'd like you to do, children, is turn around and converse with your neighbor and discuss where the mother might have gone.
Words that we can use to read and understand.
She is prey for eagles, so she comes at night.
And that will take us places we can never reach without you.
Remember, we're entering the learning zone. Now, how can we show our respect to the children and teachers who are working?
We can walk quietly.
Yes. Okay, kids, so what I'd like you to do is continue writing your narrative, documenting your emotions. If you were the baby owl and your mother abandoned you in the nest.
What can you do? Learn all that you can so that you can challenge us to be our best.
You would have stayed and assisted them in whatever they needed.
Share yourself with us and show us how to share ourselves with others. Give us courage. Give us compassion. Help us find our own voices so we can become who we are meant to be.
Why would you want to silence us?